I'll never go live, so let's see if anyone jumps on here. Give y'all a couple minutes. Not very popular no more, so how many people are going to jump on here? What's up, Corey? What's up, Squirrel Chronicles? Kind of bored here on Wednesday night. Figured I'd do a live. I haven't done a live in a long time. I got 12 people on here. Dom, it's a 4.6 single overhead cam. These comments are disappearing on me. Appreciate it, Just 2 Valve Racing. What's up, Chris? Yeah, I was pretty mad about that oil pan deal. That oil pan I got on there is pretty expensive, and I was just mainly upset on, you know, I'm kind of happy that it just hit the oil pan. If it would hit a tire or something, it could have been a lot worse. So I was just pretty upset about the whole thing. I keep missing these comments. I'm not good at this live stuff. Yeah, David, Glide would be a good choice. I'd have a Glide in this one, but I got a good friend, local, Cameron, that builds. He used to build Performance TH400s, and I had a build one in here, so I just kept it. No, I probably won't ever put a 5.4 in this car. I hear a lot of guys talk about putting the 5.4 stuff in, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, the 5.4 won't really make any more power than the 4.6 will. Not to get a little technical, but the 5.4 is same bore, and you run into head flow issues with the bore on these engines, not so much the stroke. What's up, David? I like the 15s up front because they're light. I really wanted to go with some nice light 17s, but I just had the money for them, so I went with the 15s instead. Oh, that new catch can is working great. I don't know if I showed you guys. I haven't made a video on it, so we'll do an exclusive live. Show you guys. Let's see. It's having some catch can issues, so I bought one of these big dual breather Moroso cans and ran dash 12 lines from the front to it. Put these Motion Raceworks vents on here, blow down tubes, whatever you want to call them, and run this 3/4 inch or dash 12 line to the back of the car. I was having some real bad issues. I even put a nice Motion Raceworks can right here, and these trick flow valve covers, these ports sit so far back in the head. During the pass, there's a lot of oil sits up in these heads, and it was just pushing too much oil into the can. So it helped out moving these to the front of the valve covers, get them away from all that standing oil in the back of the valve covers. But I'm missing your guys' comments. I apologize if I'm not responding to them. They're disappearing. Oh, here we go. Live chat. Now I can see everyone. Yeah, Rory, it's a little no prep weight back there. Wasn't really telling no one about that, but the higher up and the farther back you can get the weight, the more it works on the car. Yeah, it needs a wing bad. It's coming eventually. If I win a couple more races, make a little money, I'll put one on there. Appreciate it, Rory. Yeah, so far there ain't no oil in these. I ran this thing hard at Bowling Green Saturday. I was running like 30 pounds of boost or more. 3 back-to-back passes. Yep, I'm from Tennessee. 3 back-to-back passes, no oil coming up out of it. I drained it, and there was mainly just water coming out of it. Oh, those Molnar rods are great, man. I've had them in the engine for 2 or 3 years now. I've been beating the crap out of them, no issues. No, I don't run a texted block. I ran a WAP block for a while, which is over here on the shelf, until I hurt the timing chain. I ran 2 of these. The first one I blew a head gasket and burned the back number 8 cylinder up on it. And this block was fine, but I wanted to freshen the motor up, and I didn't want to bore this one out anymore. So I went from the WAP block, and now I've got a 3-valve block in it, or a NEMIC is what some people call it. Not what some people call it, that's what it is. It's a NEMIC block. Yeah, I go to Crossfield a good bit. I've been doing a bunch of back end of the track racing up there. Seeing the Molnar comment again. Yeah, those Molnar rods are good. They're just the regular Power Adder rods. 35 pounds of boost, no problem. You guys got any? I didn't get invited to the invitational. I just started doing no prep racing this year, so I'm not really that well known of a no prep racer. So I did not get an invite, unfortunately. I know some guys that go to Buffalo Valley. I've just never been. Need to get these comments to pop back up. There we go. Thanks, Chris D. Missing these. It's not bad. Yeah, Cookville. Yeah, I like Crossville. Brad, I sort of treat it like an SBE. These comments are disappearing. Stop it. I kind of treat the timing like an SBE. I mean, I probably run a little bit more than you would run in an SBE engine, stock bottom end deal. But the key there is that you really want a torque converter that keeps the engine above peak torque all the time. So you want a nice loose torque converter. And you always want to keep your timing about a degree or 2 lower at peak torque, and then fade it back in past that point. That generally, on like an engine like this that's only a 4 bolts per cylinder head, you start to have head gasket issues once you deal with the bottom end and get a built bottom end. So treating it like a stock bottom end with timing will keep the head gaskets in it as well. That's kind of my train of thought on it. So far, it's working out pretty good. Nice, Mustang James. Appreciate it, Seabird77. Matthew, I really don't like the Victor Jr. intake. Now, I say take that with a grain of salt. It's really probably one of the, it's probably the best high RPM intake that you can that's readily available for a 4.6. There's just a lot of tuning involved with it, especially when you start running high boost. Just because all the intake runners are not equal. They're all different lengths, and you got to really look and read plugs and get your fueling trim between each cylinder, especially at high boost. At real high boost levels, the air's moving through there so fast that it gets real unequal between your cylinders, and that's where a lot of your guys that are running high horsepower 2-valve stuff with that eddy intake, they start to push head gaskets. It don't matter what kind of head gasket you put on it. If you don't have the tune right, it's going to push it. And if you fire ring one and your tune ain't right, then you're going to tear up the bottom end. So you got to have the tune up right. That a lot of people say, oh, it's all in the tune up. It really is, to a point. Yeah, I got the Edelbrock intake. The 91, it's a lot more turbo than the 80 was. This is a 91 102. Spool's a little slower than the 80 96 did, but around about 30 pounds of boost on that 80, it would start to fall off in the higher RPMs. I'd see like 32 pounds on the shift, and then by 8,000 RPM, it would have fallen off to about 29 or 30 pounds. So I knew I was starting to kind of get to the end of where it was efficient at. It would have made more boost, but it just was becoming inefficient. This 91 so far, I've maxed the map sensor out once. It made about 35.6 pounds, I think is where it stopped reading at. And it maintained that through the whole RPM range. So I'm nowhere near even getting close to what this 91 wants to do. I'm sure on this motor it'd make well over 40 pounds and be pretty happy. Yeah, definitely go past 30 PSI when I need to. IETs with this intercooler are about, on a hot day, they're about 95 at the end of a pass. I used to have Todd's cams in this, but I've got a set of cams from Jordan and Modular Head Shop now. Yeah, I like the diamond pistons. They're good. Really, all the piston manufacturers are good quality. It's just all about who you want to use. I did have stock heads. They had a port match on them from DSS, stock valves and all that stuff. I was able to end up going 850 at 159, I think, on about 30 pounds of boost with the stock heads. The slick's back on there. I'd like to do a tubular front end at some point. I just don't have it in me right now to do all that work. It's just more work than I want to deal with. No problem, Donald. That's just a redneck core support. We just cut the main supports out and ran some mild steel tubes between it. It's not very nice. Definitely a little bit to be desired there. Eventually I'll do a tube front end on it. I gotta remake tabs for the motor plates when I put a tube front end on it. 41 people. All right. Probably keep this thing going for about 30 minutes. Let's see. Do I have a coolant pressure sensor? I do. It's not hooked up right now because I have a HP and I'm kind of using my inputs for other stuff. But it's a 0 to 100 PSI sensor. And I don't know if I can show it or not. Oh, man. Let me get my flashlight. Oh, I don't have my flashlight out here. It is... I don't know if you guys can see it. But on the back part of the water pump down here in the valley of the block, I've got an AM fitting that comes off the back right there. And I've got an adapter that will adapt the 100 PSI sensor into that line. So I have that line going from the back of where the water pump goes, and it comes back and it wires off to the rear of the passenger head, and then the rear of the driver's side head. Yeah, 2-valve parts are a little hard to find right now. Oh, man. Appreciate it, Adam. Yeah, it's getting faster. Honestly, it's got a... I just ain't wanted to push it real hard because I can't afford to blow it up. So I've honestly been kind of taking it easy on it lately. It's got the potential to go 4. I ain't willing to run it that hard yet. What's all done to make the power it's making? And I should say I'll follow that up with reliably, because that's a huge part of when you run one of these hard. 3-valve block, Cobra crank, 3-valve GT500 oil pump, Monar rods, Diamond Mod 2K pistons, trick flow heads they're done up by Jordan and Modular Head Shop with his 185R package, so they're copper O-rings in them, upgraded valves, valve springs, basically all the works to make these heads live at high boost. The chambers are softened on them. It's got a big fuel system, air motor 5 gallon per minute pump. It's got a good TH400 transmission built, good converter, PTC 9.5 inch. Good engine management, Holley EFI, big 210 pound per hour injectors, good ignition system. It's got a MSD Pro 600, so we got all the spark for it. And then it's got a big old 91 102 forced induction turbo with a big aluminum 5-inch downpipe. So I mean, it's got all the parts to make big power, and it does it reliably. Yeah, moving the engine back helped a lot. Next race, we're going to the Great American Street Race this weekend in Carmi, Illinois. I know they're filming that for TV, so I don't know how much I'm going to film, but I'm going to try and get enough to make a video, keep you guys updated. Yeah, I like the Rock Solid kit, the one that actually, his redesigned one that has the bar up high. I like that one, and I like the Team Z kit. One of these days I'll probably do a full video. It's a lot of work whenever you're trying to film a video and build an engine. I've never really gotten a full one and without losing my motivation. I'm trying to work my way down these comments, y'all, so give me a little bit of time. The headliner, most people will put those cages in with the headliner in, and you get it all tacked in place. You cut a hole in the floor, and you set the cage down, weld the top portions of the bars up there, and then you push the cage back up and put your plates underneath it and weld them in place. We didn't do that. We took my headliner out to be safe, and it was a pain in the butt to get it back up there. And it doesn't sit up there very nice, so I don't ever show you guys the headliner. How many passes do we run? Gonna run for serious maintenance? I'm kind of bad about keeping track of passes, to be honest with you. It's probably just more of a season thing for me. I mean, if I had to guess, I'd probably make 100 to 150 passes in a season. So that's probably where I'm going to start doing maintenance on the timing component. So I'll make a timing chain replacement, and just do a once over of everything. And then probably 200, 250 passes. The rings are probably about done by then. Probably these new rings, according to how hard those 250 passes were. And I may be off in left field, and I'm just kind of coming up with some ballpark numbers off the top of my head. Yeah, the old two-valve stuff really ain't worth that much. People are asking way too much. That's Mustangs in general. People are always asking way more than they're worth. Sorry, guys. I am trying to keep up with these comments. What's needed to spin 7,500 RPM? Cams and valve springs and one of these mod motors. That's really about it. And a bottom end that can handle it. What, Derek Woods, what's up? Which race this year has been your favorite? Where do you think no prep is going in the future? My favorite race this year? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to be honest with you, and I didn't do very good at it. My favorite race was War in the Woods in Brown County, Indiana, I think. Really well put together event. The guys that run that are freaking, they've got the organization down. Limpy's probably the best flagger in the country, in my opinion, I think. Communicates very well. Make sure everyone up on the line knows what's going on. He's very fair. Definitely want to go back to War in the Woods, maybe do a little better next time. Like I said, like Tile Video, we're novice to no prep. I think no prep racing's going to be it already is kind of the thing. When I first started kind of dabbling in racing, it was radial racing, and money kind of took that over. And it's tough to keep up if you don't have a big wallet with radial racing. So the no prep kind of evens the playing field out. You're going to have guys with money, in that too. No matter what kind of racing you do, you're going to have guys with money in it. But it really comes down to how hard you want it, how bad you want to win, how hard you're willing to work, and how willing you are to learn and become a better tuner for no prep stuff. So you can definitely come in with a smaller budget and no prep and do good as long as you have that knowledge and skill set and the willingness to kind of open your mind up and listen to other people's opinions and kind of learn from other people. I charge $100 for the motor build, man, that'd be nice. You guys can always send me some super chats or anything if y'all want to donate. I'm definitely not the type to ask for it. I'd like to come to Texas sometime and race for sure. No, 99 GT had an iron block. Romeo, maybe? Windsor, I don't know. I'm not good with that stuff. Do I like no or less prep more than radio racing? Yeah, I do. I like the no prep stuff more. I do run dump valves, or a dump valve. How much travel on the front? It's got about 5.5 inches of front end travel. Those are UPR, like the Shark series caster camera plates. They're flipped upside down for a little more travel. A little pro tip there. You guys can flip your caster camera plates and get a little more front end travel. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never had a problem out of any of the three: Eliminator, Texit, or WAP. I think in my opinion, I think the Illuminator or the NEMEC is the best block. I got my reasons behind that. There is a better manifold, but it costs a lot of money. Hogan will build you a nice bottom feed intake with equal length runners and stuff, but you're looking at three grand or more, which I just can't justify putting a $3,000 intake on top of this motor. That's funny, Mike. No, you definitely don't see the headliner when we're running 150. I appreciate that, Wings 65288, man. That is, thank you so much for that. Ooh, this is a question I've been waiting for. How did I keep the heads from lifting on my motor? I'm glad someone asked. All right. Here it is. I don't keep any secrets. Not many. Couple, but not many. Oh, all right, guys. I'll get to the comments after I explain this one. How did I stop the heads from lifting on this motor? There's a lot of things that go into accounting for that. And I guess I'll kind of name them off individually. All right. Good machine work on the heads and the block. Nice and flat. Nice smooth surface. Good RA for the multi-layer steel head gaskets. The chambers are softened on the heads, which means that they're a little less sensitive to timing, which means this motor is a little bit easier to tune, especially at high boost levels. It's less likely to detonate because it has no quench in it. Copper O-rings on the heads help the head gasket seal up. And then the number one thing that stops these things from lifting heads, as long as your tune-up's good and you have some conservative timing numbers at high boost, like at about 30 pounds of boost, I'm at about 13 to 14 degrees of timing at 30 pounds. So that's kind of the ballpark of what would be considered a little conservative. But the secret to keeping these things down is individual cylinder tuning, especially for fuel. And if you look at this throttle body, right, it comes in from the rear, goes down. Well, when this thing's got 30 pounds of boost going through it, that air is moving really fast. And whenever it moves really fast down this elbow, it's going to make this turn harder right here. And so air's coming from this way, you're going to get more air to these front four cylinders. Vice versa, if this was facing forward, you would get more air to your rear four cylinders. Your wide band is reading the combination of air fuel from all 8 cylinders. So if you've got lean cylinders, your rich cylinders are going to run richer to compensate for that air fuel ratio, right? So the problem just gets worse. So I have a 7%, and the reason why this intake is also really bad because your intake runners are all different lengths. They're all different lengths. Your 2 middle ones on each side are pretty close, but these front 2 and rear 2 are really bad. So your power bands are going to be a little different on each cylinder. But I have a 7% fueling difference between number 1 and number 8. If that gives you guys any kind of clue on how big of a fueling difference there is because of this intake. And once you get that done, you don't have those detonation problems that you would have had from those lean cylinders anymore, and that's generally what's going to cause you to lift ahead, especially on E85. Because E85 will fool you when you start reading plugs. You'll think that it's the cylinder's good, but it's hot. Nice, Dom. Oh, yeah, we're almost at 30 minutes. I might let this go a little bit longer if we keep getting questions. Would be nice to see someone sponsor you with carbon fiber hood and doors. That'd be awesome. These doors are heavy. The hood's about 26 pounds, and I don't know, these doors are like 80-something pounds a piece. So she's a little hefty. I got the door panels out right now to save a little bit of weight. It's about 16 pounds with the door panels out. Chris, man, I can't remember how narrow this thing is, but I will tell you that the stock brakes would not have cleared. I got lucky. I had to do some crazy stuff. We'll get under here real quick. Yeah, I had to clearance those brakes to get the shocks to clear. We narrowed the rear end a little too much. These wheels are I'll let you look at that a little bit longer. I really need to relocate the shocks and do some coilovers, but this works pretty good for now. These wheels are 15 by 10 with a 4-inch backspace. My other wheels are 3.5-inch backspace with my radials on them. They fit a little bit better. I really need like a 15 by 12 with a 4-inch backspace to fill that up. I know you guys ask me some of these questions sometimes about what's done, and I've forgotten a lot of this stuff, guys. So sometimes I just don't have the answer, and I apologize for it. Just so many things have changed with the car over the years. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, James. 150 shot nitrous on a stock 2 valve. I wouldn't be worried about it with a good tune. Yep. These things are bad about lifting the heads. I've thought about it, Corey. I can weld aluminum decent. I could probably try. Boss 302 intake, I wish I could put one on here. Rear springs for no prep. I've got some stock V8 springs on it right now with no coils are cut on them because I relocate the lower control arm to put more upward angle in it. And I need those taller springs to make the car sit up at the correct ride height. No more than 650 rear wheel with an 80. I mean, it's according to what kind of 80 it is. You could be running out of turbo. Budget rods and pistons for a 4.6. Do like a... I had some cheap MMR I-beams years ago that, as a matter of fact, I went 850s with them. I'm not really a big fan of MMR, but I had those rods in the motor. They were, I don't know, $300 for a set or something. You can do the Boss 302 rods, but I'd rather spend another $100 and have a set of a little bit better rods. And then pistons, I just do like a budget kind of, like a budget diamond, or you know, kind of like box stock Wiseco piston or something like that. You could make, be honest with you guys, with something like that, you can generally, I'd say you can make 1,000 horsepower. It's just nice to have stronger parts to give you that extra safety. I mean, look how much power guys make on Gen 4 stock bottom end stuff. I would go with a bigger turbo. I wouldn't go with a bigger compressor like the 91, but I mean, I could see myself going with like a Garrett 88 or something with the big turbine wheel, but I just haven't seen the need for it yet. I'd have to be over 40 pounds of boost to need a bigger turbo. 96 millimeter back end? I don't know. How does it run at the track with 650 wheel? The dyno could be off a little bit. Compression, 10.5 to 1. No, I've got like old school Maximum Motorsports subframe connectors. If I had to start over today, would I go to a Coyote or a dart block? Oh, that's a tough one. Oh man. Knowing what I know now, I mean, if I had the money to get a aluminum dart block, I would do that. I would do an aluminum dart block, like 9.2 deck or 9.5 deck or something. But what I like about, for no prep racing, so you guys know, weight bias in the front end, or your overall weight bias, is a big deal. And the only motors you can really get a stock aluminum block for are a mod motor and LS, Coyote, which is a mod motor. So unless you want to spend some big bucks on an aluminum aftermarket block, you kind of need to run one of those combos to help with your front end bias. So you don't have to make the car weigh 4,000 pounds to get a good bias. So what bottom end crank rods and piston would I truly recommend? I mean, it's all according to what you want to do, really. A lot of people, I mean, it's just so subjective. I don't want to say like one thing fits all for what's going to be the best bottom end. It's really about what you want to do. Four six for daily driving. I mean, don't get too crazy with the cams in it. That's all I'd say for a daily driver. Dang, comments keep disappearing. 52 people. Did I miss anyone? I don't know. Will I ever 25? I don't know. I kind of like the 850 cert deal. I appreciate that, James. Appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you. Thanks A to D Racing. I don't know. I mean, I'd like the 25.3 for extra safety, or sorry, 25.5 for extra safety in here. I mean, I'd probably do a 25.5. It wouldn't be too hard to add that onto this. I'd have to X the door bars and then put a funny car deal here, and I forget there's a couple other bars that have to get added to, I think. But I've already got the rocker bars down here. So I'm missing some of these comments. Still having a bit of an issue spooling from a dig with these twins. Hopefully a tuner can get them working. Twin turbo creeper. What turbos do you have? And do you have a trans brake? Why did I get rid of the baseline suspension, rear suspension? I wanted to sit the car down a little lower. And to do that, I needed to put lower relocation brackets on it. And the baseline kit would have just made my anti-squat values just way too high whenever I put the car down real low. So I went back to conventional uppers and those relocated lowers. I'm a big believer in putting a good bit of angle in your lower control arm, uphill angle in it, add bite to the car. And I wasn't able to get that with the baseline uppers. How did the cam gears come off of a 99 to 03? Oh, man. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm bad for stock stuff. I'm so, like, haven't messed with it in so long. Or if those are depressed on gears, then you're probably going to have to get creative to get them off there. Yeah, I feel you, top choppers. I don't have funds. I've never had funds to pay a shop either. I've just learned everything on working on the car myself for the most part. Nice. Yep. Let's see. What ARB am I using? TRZ. The TRZ standard anti-roll bar. It's pretty robust. Best on the market in my opinion. Forced induction 6268. Is that on a 4.6? That's a decent little bit of backside for a 4.6. You're definitely gonna want a loose converter in that thing. Gonna have to get pretty aggressive with the timing. I don't know what kind of Freddie Brown 4R70. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna want to get your two-step RPM up over 4,000 RPM to spool up those turbos. I would say get a little aggressive with the timing pull. Possibilities of junkyard return fuel system. I've done some budget stuff. I did it on Brandon Marquis' car. We put like an Air Motor 340 in tank, and then we adapted the stock rails to have a return line on them. And I just ran a -6 return line back from a fuel pressure regulator from like a Magna Fuel, like decent little fuel pressure regulator. Ran a return line back to the pump, put a little bulkhead fitting in the fuel hat on the stock fuel hat, and then I just wired that pump up to run all the time with the ignition on. Stock uppers with stock bushings.